Gandon and Ilmur, a friendship turned to ashes. A tragic tale about two brothers turning into each other's worst enemies. It's a long story spanning many years, but we shall not start at the beginning. We shall start at the end. Sometimes even your best friend can turn into your worst enemy. Those gloomy thoughts echoed over and over again in the Crown Prince's mind as he passed on through the abandoned dwarven caves. Ilmur was afraid of what he would find at the end. Would there be anything remaining of his older brother, or was there only a conqueror left? It was pitch black, the only sort of light being the torch in his hand. In his right hand he held the dwarven steel blade that he would use to vanquish his enemy, the brother who had once been his most beloved friend, not too long ago. The Crown Prince knew where he would find his former friend. Gandon had a flair for the dramatic, and they had promised their children that they would return to this place. Outside the two armies were fighting, but neither would interfere in their duel. This would be between them and no one else. Gandon was in open rebellion against the Crown City. Ilmur had a large army, but he was not winning. He couldn't imagine a more dangerous enemy. He had never beaten Gandon in the strategic game 5 Towers, and it looked like he wouldn't succeed now either, with real human lives on the line. If he could kill Gandon, however, the war would be over. Luckily, Gandon wasn't just intelligent. He had no shortage of pride as well. He came to Open Hall, the destination he had been heading for all along. All the torches were lit, and he abandoned his own as the love he had once had for his brother. Gandon stood there, but the Crown Prince could barely recognize him. Gandon's eyes burned with a cold fury. Fury that had always been aimed at his enemies, never at Ilmur himself. Ilmur's father's corpse wasn't even cold yet, but here Gandon was waging war against his former family, those who had raised him to the best of their capability. Gandon stood there, facing him, with the identical blade in his hand, one that glowed faintly blue, just like Ilmur's. On his left hand was a silver ring, the very one Ilmur had forged to save his friend from the darkness. They looked at each other. It was clear that no reconciliation could be made. Gandon gave him a mocking bow. "Welcome, my prince. Or is it your majesty now?" Ilmur's tears were close to the surface. If there were a dream, he would wish to wake up now. But it wasn't a dream. It was only a nightmare. His father would never speak to him again. He struggled to find his voice, but eventually Ilmur managed to speak. "I defended you at court. What a fool I was." Gandon looked at his blade like it was an exquisite art piece. "That was foolish of you, Ilmur. Who else could it have been but me?" A tear fell onto the stone floor. "Why?" "Why? To save the kingdom, to save the world," Gandon said simply. "But also revenge. The royal family owes my father and me everything. I will have my payment, in gold or steel." "In you there is nothing left to save," screamed Ilmur, pointing his sword at his foe. "Weren't you supposed to be the clever one of us? You can't beat me in a duel. Everything you've done has been for naught. You only caused unnecessary grief." Gandon's ring began to glimmer. "You're living in the past. Things don't always stay the same. When you're dead, I can finally put my mind at ease." Ilmur rushed forward like a bull, screaming his lungs out, letting all the pain and suffering spill out. Their blades met. The sound of steel providing the music for their deadly dance. Each took their turn to lead with their blows. Back and forth they went, fighting for dominance in the dance. This would be their last dance, for they wouldn't stop until one of them was dead.